Hello, friend. Welcome back to Pure Speak English. I'm Ben.
And I'm Crystal. We're so happy you're here with us today.
You know, Crystal, before we dive into today's episode, I want to take a moment to speak directly to anyone who might be feeling a little lost right now.
Lost in what way, Ben?
Lost in their English journey. Maybe you've been studying for months or even years, and you still don't feel confident. Maybe you're not sure if you're making progress. Maybe you're wondering if all this effort is even worth it.
I think a lot of our listeners have felt this way at some point. That feeling of being stuck, that feeling of not knowing if you're on the right path.
And if that's you right now, I want you to know something important. You are not alone. Feeling lost is actually a very normal part of learning. It doesn't mean you're failing, it just means you're in the middle of the journey.
And sometimes the middle is the hardest part, because you've come far enough that you can't go back, but you haven't arrived yet. You're in that in-between space.
But here's what I've learned. The in-between space is where the most growth happens. It's uncomfortable, yes, but it's also where you become stronger.
So today, we want to talk to you about how to find your way when you feel lost, and we're going to do it through real conversations. Natural, honest, supportive conversations.
Because that's how language really works, not through textbooks and grammar rules alone, but through connection, through real human moments.
So take a deep breath with us right now. Breathe in slowly and breathe out. Let go of any worry. Let go of any pressure. You're exactly where you need to be.
And we're here to walk beside you.
Then I want to start by sharing something with you, something I don't think I've ever talked about on this podcast.
I'm listening.
About 3 years ago, I went through a period where I felt completely lost in my life, not just with language learning, but with everything. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know where I was going. I felt like I was just floating.
That sounds really difficult.
It was. And during that time, I actually stopped learning French. I had been studying French for 2 years, but suddenly I just couldn't find the motivation anymore. I thought to myself, what's the point? I don't even know what I'm doing with my life.
So you felt lost in life, and that made you feel lost in your learning too.
Exactly. And I think that's something people don't talk about enough. Sometimes when we feel lost in one area of our life, it affects everything else.
So what helped you find your way back?
It was actually a conversation, a real, honest conversation with a friend. She didn't give me answers. She didn't tell me what to do. She just listened. And then she said something that changed everything.
What did she say?
She said, Crystal, you don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to take the next small step. Just one step. That's all.
That's beautiful.
It was, because I had been so focused on the big picture, on having a perfect plan, that I forgot about the small steps. And when I started taking small steps again, just studying French for 10 minutes a day, just saying one sentence out loud, I started to feel less lost.
Because action creates clarity.
Yes, you can't think your way out of feeling lost. You have to move your way out. You have to take action, even small action, and trust that the path will reveal itself.
You know, Crystal, I had a very similar experience, but mine was specifically with learning English.
Really? Tell me about it.
I grew up in a country where English wasn't commonly spoken, and when I first started learning English as a teenager, I was so excited. I loved it. I studied every day, I watched movies, I listened to music. I felt like I was making progress.
That sounds wonderful.
It was, for about a year, but then I hit a wall. Suddenly, everything felt hard. I couldn't understand native speakers when they talk fast. I couldn't express complex thoughts. I felt like I was stuck at the same level forever.
And how did that make you feel?
Lost, completely lost. I started to doubt myself. I thought, maybe I'm just not good at languages. Maybe I'll never be fluent. Maybe I should just give up.
But you didn't give up.
No, I didn't, but I came very close. And what saved me was actually discovering podcasts like this one. Podcasts where people spoke slowly, clearly, and kindly, where they didn't just teach grammar, but shared real conversations.
And those conversations helped you feel less lost.
They did because they reminded me why I was learning in the first place. Not to pass a test, not to impress anyone, but to connect with people, to understand different perspectives, to grow as a person.
That's the real purpose of language, isn't it? Connection.
Exactly. And once I remembered that, everything changed. I stopped worrying so much about being perfect. I started focusing on just communicating, just connecting, and my English improved naturally. So, Crystal, let's talk directly to our listeners now. If you're feeling lost in your English journey, let's explore why that might be. And more importantly, let's talk about how you can find your way forward.
I think the first reason people feel lost is because they don't see progress.
Yes, they study, but they don't feel like they're getting better.
And that's so frustrating because you're putting in the effort, you're showing up every day, but you can't see the results.
But here's the thing. Progress in language learning is not always visible. It's not like climbing stairs where you can see each step. It's more like filling a cup with water drop by drop. For a long time, the cup looks empty, but then suddenly, one day, it overflows.
That's such a perfect metaphor because your brain is absorbing everything, even when you don't realize it. Every word you hear, every sentence you read, every conversation you have, it's all adding up.
So if you don't see progress right now, please don't give up. Keep filling that cup. Keep showing up. The overflow is coming.
And here's something practical you can do. Keep a learning journal. At the end of each week, write down 3 things you learned or 3 things you did in English.
Why is that helpful?
Because when you write it down, you create evidence of your progress. You can look back at that journal in a month or 2 months and see how far you've come.
And that evidence fights against the feeling of being lost. It reminds you that you are moving forward even if it doesn't always feel that way.
The second reason people feel lost is because they're studying without a clear purpose.
Can you explain what you mean by that?
Sure, some people study English just because they think they should. Maybe their parents told them to, maybe it's required for school, maybe everyone else is doing it, but they don't have a personal why.
And when you don't have a strong why, it's easy to lose motivation.
Exactly, because when things get hard, and they will get hard, you need that why to keep you going.
So what should people do if they don't have a clear purpose?
Take some time to think about it. Ask yourself, why do I want to learn English? What will I be able to do when I speak English well? How will it change my life?
Maybe you want to travel. Maybe you want to connect with people from different countries. Maybe you want to watch movies without subtitles. Maybe you want to get a better job.
Whatever your reason is, make it personal, make it meaningful, write it down, and when you feel lost, come back to that reason.
Because your why is your compass. It shows you the direction when the path is unclear. Ben, let's talk about something that I think is really important when you feel lost, the importance of community.
Oh yes, community changes everything.
It does, because when you're learning alone, it's easy to feel isolated. It's easy to think you're the only one struggling.
But when you have a community, even just 1 or 2 people who are also learning, you realize you're not alone.
Exactly. You can share your challenges. You can celebrate your wins. You can encourage each other.
And you can learn from each other. Maybe someone in your community knows a word you don't know. Maybe they have a study method that works really well.
So how can people find or create a community?
Well, you can join online groups. There are many English learning communities on social media, on forums, on apps.
You can also create your own small community. Maybe you have a friend or a family member who's also learning. You could practice together once a week.
Or you could find a language exchange partner, someone who wants to learn your language and you want to learn theirs. You help each other.
And even this podcast is a kind of community. Everyone listening right now is part of the Pure Speak English family. We're all learning together.
That's right. You're not alone. We're here with you, and thousands of other learners around the world are here with you too.
Now, Ben, let's talk about something that often comes up when people feel lost, the question of whether to continue or quit.
That's a heavy question.
It is, because sometimes when you feel really lost, you start to think, maybe I should just quit. Maybe this isn't for me.
And I want to be honest here. Sometimes quitting is the right choice. If something truly doesn't serve you, if it makes you deeply unhappy, it's okay to let it go.
But I think most of the time when people want to quit, it's not because learning English isn't for them. It's because they're tired, they're frustrated, they need a break or a new approach.
Exactly. So before you quit, I would suggest taking a pause. Not a quit, but a pause.
What's the difference?
A quit is permanent. You walk away and never come back. But a pause is temporary. You take a week off, or 2 weeks, or even a month. You rest, you recharge, and then you come back with fresh eyes.
And often after a pause, you realize you do want to continue. You just needed some space.
Yes, and if you come back and you still want to quit, then maybe it's time to ask yourself what needs to change. Maybe you need a different method. Maybe you need a different goal. Maybe you need to make it more fun.
Because learning English doesn't have to be boring. It doesn't have to be stressful. It can be